Hey everyone, what I'm going to do today, excuse me, is I am making new tools for inlaying silver wire. And that would be this. It's fine. It's called fine silver wire. I do used to inlay it in gun stocks. Now I'm trying to incorporate it into more of the carvings, even my pyrography on the different woods. But what I have found is it's hard to find a good inlay tool to inlay the wire, to make the groove to inlay the wire, the slot, because the wire is so thin. Light up here a little bit more. Wire is so thin, I don't even know if you can see it. It's just unbelievably thin. Well, this is the size of the wire that I use. It's 13 thousandths thick, 3/32 tall, and it comes in 36-inch slices. Now this wire is not cheap. For 36 inches of this, it's $22. Like it says, this is how it's labeled: fine silver wire inlay. So it's good stuff. It's very, very soft, very soft. So, but what I found is some of the tools that you can buy for inlaying are a little too thick. When you put the wire inlay in, it's almost the same size as the wire, and it don't want to stay down. It tries to work its way up, especially when you're starting to finish it. For some reason, don't know why it wants to work its way out, but it does. A lot of the guys I know that do that and still use the big tools, they wet after they get the wire inlaid in. They take and wet the wood on both sides of the wire. A lot of times they'll use a clean, very clean, larger paintbrush, dip it in the water, paint it on, and that swells the wood up. And I guess they say clamps it on. I've tried it a couple times, but once the wood dries, it's a little tighter, but not that much. So, my personal opinion, just mine alone, a lot of the tools that when I first started, they said, you know, you can make your own hacksaw blades, which are actually very, very good. I mean, a hacksaw blade, you can break, you know, one hacksaw blade is, you know, 12, 16 inches long, whatever they are, and you break them up into small chunks, cut them to whatever size, and sharpen them and all that, but still, they're very thick. And actually, when I put a mic on it, they're a few thousandths thicker than the wire. It's easy to put the wire in with it a little bit thicker, but I just don't like the possibility of it working its way back out. So what I've always done is I've made the small chisel and on that, but I have always sanded it down to make it thin and not use the same size as the blade. Then I thought, well, golly, why should I go to all that when you can use these blades from your hobby knives? I have a whole bunch of different hobby knives, but these blades come in so many different sizes. This is the big, for the big size, and this is the one for the smaller size. So for the ones with the real small chisels to inlay, I always put in the smaller ones. And you can see that I've made that one there quite small, and that's for going around tighter curves. And then I have one that's really teeny tiny, and that's for finishing out a lot of the type scroll work. A lot of the stuff is a lot like, I'm hoping you can see it, this here, this type of an ending. You know, it goes up like this, it comes around and comes back around again, or it goes up against a flower or something, but it usually has a nice swirl on the end of it. And a lot of times those swirls get really small, so you can't use a big piece to go in and make that groove to set it in. So I do that, and when I'm got it done, have it sharpened up and exactly what I want it to do, then I have a little battery powered Dremel, buffing wheel on the end, use some polishing compound, and I buff that point so it's super shiny and super slick. I found that when you go in the wood and then come back out again, it slides out a lot easier than if it's rough. Some of you might already know this, but this is just my observations on this. And like I said, I have the bigger one and I have the larger inlay tool, and that's for straight. A little bit bigger, put it on a nice handle where it's more comfortable in your hand, and just make sure you follow that line perfectly. Once I get everything done here, I'm probably going to include this in working on the Celtic stick. But once I get everything done to where I want it, then I will do an inlay video. I don't know how many of you are interested in it, but I love doing inlays. It makes everything quite fancy. It makes things fancier. It's hard to do on pieces this small as a walking stick. That's why it was done on gun stocks. You know, they had slight curves and stuff like that, but your wire would bend a little bit to those curves, but it won't bend like around here. So it's actually a little easier doing it on a gun stock. But the designs you can make are from the very simple single line with a little bend on the end to actually making flowers. Some of these guys are unbelievable out there that are doing this stuff. So I'm going to let this go for a little bit, and I'm going to get things set up to where I want to show you how I make one of these. And now that I'm back, I've had my the COVID, and then I caught pneumonia on top of that. I'm going to use a mask for everything I do. If I get the Dremel out to do something, I'm wearing a mask because my lungs are still a little touchy. They're getting better. They're getting better, but I want to make a video to put out. So let me get this. I know I'm babbling on. It's almost like I'm new to this again. Okay, before I end this thing, another thing you can use that I have used in the past are these stainless steel 1/4 inch by 6 inch steel rulers. They have the little thing on it for your pocket. These are awesome too. It's just that you have to make sure you take down smooth out where the numbers and stuff are. But these will also, what's really nice about these 1/4 inches is you use your X-Acto handle and they will actually fit inside of them. You might have to take an edge down just a little bit, but they will fit inside of your X-Acto handles. And they're stainless steel and they're tough. They won't bend that easy. So anyway, just a little quick thought on that. I just about forgot about it. So catch you in a bit. And you can make them, you know, whatever you want, however you want them. Let me get the camera back up here. You know, it doesn't matter. If you're doing these, you make them to your specifications, not to anybody else's. And it's a good thing. And it's kind of fun to do it too at the same time. So that'll be enough of this for right now. And I will get going on the, whoop, let me get these off. Get going on the Celtic stick. And what I am going to do on that, I think I showed, I have got some sanding, I don't know what you would call them, sanding pads, four different grains, grits, from real coarse to I think 400. And that's what I'm going to do in here, on the edges in here, and smooth this out as good as I can. Anyway, that's my idea. It seemed to work on the outside. I did it real quick the other day without putting a mask on. I only did it for about 5 seconds. So let me get this here cleaned up, and we'll get back with the walking stick. Alrighty, thank you. And remember, grab your cane, your hiking stick, your walking stick, whatever you use, and get out there, because nature is beautiful.